Good morning. Oops, might have missed the song switch over there. Or whatever it is, wherever you are. Yep, just missed it. Not a very tight end. Oh, I updated this default, but not this default. I'm just taking resolution 0. So frame rate 30, and we're doing around there. Yeah, so the math isn't quite right here. So that's this project, because I think I'm typically doing like 2200, even though this says I can only get 0.9 quality. So I think it's actually more like bits per square inch or something to that effect. I don't know. But that's for later. Right now, we have a partial conversion where we've got the Redux connect. And right now, this thing uses every action we've got. And state is state. Now, I think that at some point here, possibly the point at which we do more with the access token and have to keep that around, and that's not part of the calculator state. We would actually have to have like a subsection of that. So at the moment, most of these are actually unnecessary to have functions. I guess we can still have functions to kind of have that interface point there. Oh wait, this is the source. Which looks pretty similar, but the JSX hasn't been compiled. Yeah, so then this passes down these events. Although it seems like the Redux style is that you sort of have this global state. And you bind each control to execute it directly, or to fire events on it directly, instead of this sort of component-based style where we pass down the handlers. So like a bitrate control would map out the bitrate value and set bitrate function, and then it would operate on that directly, which I'm not sure I like. Which might be fine in this situation, but it's like, I kind of set these up to be more generic controls. If they had to use different values or send different events, there's no real place for that. I guess that would be... I guess the React view of that is you have your base component, which is generic. And then the connect command that binds stuff. But that makes a specific version of it with those bindings. So I'm not entirely sure which way we should go with this. The chat bot definitely seems like it has some room for improvement. Well, for one thing, the change settings doesn't work. Actually, do we even use the individual events anymore? I just leave those there. No, we don't. Which means we'd actually want an... for Redux style, we'd actually need to have an action that could handle this. And since you deal with everything, we could potentially pass down the entire calculator state as one thing. Okay, and this, well, yeah, we don't have the unchanged settings. Well, so this is actually broken right now. But that has to be an action. I'm kind of following their example here, though. Yeah, I'm not liking my names here. Set settings. Where payload is settings. And I think this might even update object assign everything in there, and then optimize for the current target. Okay, so the test for that would be if we wanted to calc. So what did I see the other day? It was 1080p 30 at... Well, that was the pixel test setting target. Did I just comment that out? Oh, because we have to pass it to the calculator. This dot props set settings. Yeah, so that updated things. And it is not... Yeah, it's like, that looked fine on the stream, but it says it's a very, very bad quality. Now, I did, before, kind of have to put the chat bot in the calculator in order to pass everything down, because the state was in the bitrate calculator form. With Redux, it might be more sensible to actually remove the chat bot from the calculator and sort of define that at the top level app level. Net minus m, update, alright, so, but that means the chatbot is not going to be a pure plain old component. It is going to be going to have something like this. Bitrate calculator chat bot. Now, you actually don't need all of the actions. You need and then this does not get exported. And we have to get actions, but apparently not store. Must be able to pick that up from the containment. All right, is this an error we're still going to have? Export, yeah. Chatbot. Then, bitrate calculator. App. Then you don't need this stuff. Or this stuff. On-chain settings gets bound in the component right now. That stuff all gets bound in the component. Which, yeah, seems a little magical. Alright, so chatbot, or bitrate calculator, actually doesn't need a set settings. So technically there's one less thing we need to pass to that. And then you this not props dot set settings. Oh, no, we're a bit past that. Really? So this was actions. It's the only way I know how to do this. You know what? But it is an object that we have to pass, I believe. No, because we can do set settings out of actions. but I don't think I can catch the entire thing. Yeah. Looking like if I want to do this, I have to do, well, yeah, just reconstruct the object. Chatbot is not defined. Ooh, okay. Actually, bitrate calculator. Did I remove? I did not remove you from here. Okay. And if we do that, then state messages get back. So it's good that we're able to disentangle that a little bit. Chatbot no longer no longer child of calculator. So what else needs cleaning up? So there is a little bit of this sort of indirection of the events. There are all of these little controls, which are still using standard React handling, and not keeping some of their local state in the global model, which is probably more fine in a React Redux situation than, even though it wouldn't work in Elm. But if I directly bind them, then they're really only useful in that one situation. You wouldn't actually have a reusable control. And the chatbot, yeah, I should probably attempt to get like the auth information in the main model, which would mean making state a child. So provider, actually store defines our initial state. So our initial state should be it's like the calculator state, the bit rates. And then initial state dot calculator. Initial state. calculator. Yeah, so this is action type, object assign. This is state 2. So these are all going to operate on calculator state. And optimize is going to return a sparse update to calculator state. So this would be the calc 2 at this point, which then would have to be updated in the master state. Object.assign state dot, that was originally a new object. So that might be our update. Now the two things, currently have two things that map this out. State, return state dot, for your purposes, it's just state dot calculator. For the current operation of chatbot, it is also state dot calculator. But I think we're going to want to lift that up. Oop. Resolution control. This dot props dot value. It did load for a bit. Oh, nope, that redid it. No, that goes back to inspector. Oh. So it becomes a connect component. Which has a bunch of hooks. Value, store, subscription. Oh, and there's the bitrate calculator, which has all of our sets. Maybe my update function is borked? Because when we tried to change it, that things went wrong. Oh, no, because this we lost our object assign here. So this does have to become like a C2 is that update so that we can pass those updated things into, well, at that point I don't really care if I change it. Then we do that, and then I actually do need to return, assuming that there's going to be some other state here at some time. No. Calc is not, oh, yeah, that's right. We gotta have more generations of state. Okay, so that was a little bit more involved. So our, oh, you know what? You know what? This is why they have the idea of nested reducers. So this is my top level update. So this would be like the calculate reducer. State equals initial state dot calculator. So the awkward thing here is that we do this on any of these. Well, you're not distinguishing based on action. So you this so your state is going to just be the calculator. And then you're just taking it this far. And then this is going to say, well, if we have any of the calculator events, then we're going to do that with calculator calculate state dot calculator. Well, that wraps it up a little bit. This is not, okay, that's an old error. Oop, action is undefined. Oop. Yes, for completeness, even though it's not, this one isn't currently switching on it. Okay, so that extracts that. Oh, and you're fine, right? Yep. Make calculator state child of app state. So now We could conceivably make the OAuth part of the master state, although early only gets set at once at the beginning. So we'd have to have an event that we could fire to set it. And then we would be able to map it out of the state done in the chatbot. I'm kind of thinking about the more Elm style or functional style. It's like you don't really have any state. Bitrate calculator doesn't really have any state. You don't really have any control. I think no resolution. It was bit per pixel. Had an internal string value that makes it an actual control. Unless we lifted that up to the master state. I'm sort of curious what it would look like without the React Redux Connect. So right now we've got the component deciding what fields of the master state it wants. Whereas in a purely functional style, the thing calling would decide how to map stuff out of the information it has. Do you have state? Okay, so the chatbot currently has its internal state. which is kind of application state. And then the other thing is that I have an instance of the chat library. Which I'm currently just keeping as a regular member variable. That might not be proper. Yeah, component did mount, component will unmount. So that would be, well, and that's good in the sense that adding or removing a component would add or remove the chat connection. So I think what this suggests is that we should have like a chat state with its own reducer, and then some of the code that's in here that's doing state management moves up to that stuff. Well, I mean, arguably the chat stuff shouldn't even be a component. It was just kind of how things had to work in a React world. Yeah, so this might be possible to do as just straight Redux. However, I would like to take a short break. I will be back in a few minutes to see if we can decomponentize this a little bit. Yep. Ah! Well, I can at least try to get near to the truck, or actually, I could even try to get near to home base from this height. See, you got to make that body retrieval easy. You just put it right along the path, pick it up on your way back to the truck. Whoa, that was a little bit of a close call. Gotta watch those.
So get rid of these. Yeah, these look way more natural. Instead of just a rotten, I don't even know what to call it. Push it back. Alright, duplicate. Let's see if this works. It may not, it's a test.
So, Peen-kun was always by my side. And because of that, I was able to live out my dream of being a chosen one. I lived as a chosen one alongside the familiar I called a friend.
Then you're saying Peen-kun's real form is...
Yes. Peen-kun is a delusion I myself have created.
Peen-kun is a delusion?
It all makes sense now. It feels natural. Freeing, even.
Peen-kun?
Now that you know, this existence, the one you call Peen-kun...
You'll never take us alive! Unknown research.
Okay,
More research. More research. A lot of research over here. Good stuffs.
¡Hay alguien en el punto!
Sí, una fara. ¡Oh, que tiene la skin de... ¡Oh, qué fuerte! Yo quiero esa.
¿Cuál? ¿De qué?
La de Symmetra. La de... Esa es Symmetra Warframe, totalmente. Es Symmetra Lotus.
Sí, 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 me trago así, vale.
Espérate, que te voy a enseñar.
Vale, como tienen, claro, tienen una espada para mí.
What? How did he not die from that? He was literally getting hit. And he just stopped getting hit.
I'm destroying this chest because I have the ring. It heals me when I destroy the chests, and let us continue. That's a boss room. Okay. Do they have capes?
Alright, welcome back. Alright, so chatbot. It's got this for state, so that would have to be made available at the top level. Component did mount is like our startup code. And we try to connect. Unmount gives us some disconnect. That's a chat. This is a chat handler. On chat connected, another chat handler that we've put on the component for convenience. And this little thing that reports this. So this could also have a little like chatbot component thing that reports the status or something. That doesn't necessarily have to be related to the bot itself. So once again, the naming problem. We've got like the chatbot component, and we've got the chatbot. Well, file-wise, you could do JSX and JS, except it'll get compiled to the same file by Babel. So really, we're going to have to do some shuffling here. So I think I really want chatbot to be the bot itself, which means this has to be like chat UI or something. Source chatbot to, I guess, chat status. Chat status. Chat status. Right. Oops. It's like, you should should have had some references in your own file. Okay, no errors there. Okay, so that much is still working. Now, the renames always make me a little bit nervous. Rename chatbot component. Alright, so now, with that out of the way, we can actually take a lot of this. Well, this is in source. And yours going to be straight up JS. So you're going to need the client ID, you're going to need the calc, you're going to need the actions. Oh, actually, the authorized URL is kind of a component thing. This is what's going to make the link. So yeah, in the LMAP, this always ends up in the view layer. Now, if I'm doing a chat thing, I could have the thing that constructs the URL be part of this. And this was using class syntax. Do I want this to be a class? I know for Elm purposes, they recommend against having functions in the model. Now I'm going to end up I'm going to have to store a chat bot if I'm going to do that Redux style. Or a TMI interface client. Do we want to make like a chat bot object? Props. When it will unmount, report current settings. This dot client. Settings. Right, because this is only what we got in the command. Okay. So I might be able to do this pure functional. Export. I guess the easiest conversion is to do that, right? So we are going to tear this thing down at some point. Alright, so this is going to be some sort of... So we're going to have to get some props for, or some data, which I guess might want to move into state itself. Export functions. This is going to be like connect to chat. And it's going to need a username, an OAuth token, and a channel. Okay, and then it's not gonna be this dot props. Ops. Actually, I probably should have done some let binding for these things. We use them a fair bit. All right, and then we're going to have and then it's going to have its local functions, which don't need to be bound to anything. Okay, so where we send store updates might be an issue here. I guess that's probably just a binding again. So we were just return client. Well, we could return like username token channel as state. But really, that's our chat client. Component will unmount. Export function. So this dot set state. I think we might end up with like a little sub-state where this sort of has its own reducer. In which case, this would actually be more of an event? Because it would have to update the application state. Similarly, client would. Oh yeah, because this might have to be done when the auth token changes. So I guess to the question of how much of it is joint state and how much of it is just different pieces of state. Because we need to do something with that. All right, report current settings needs the client. So this is just something we can call. So it needs to receive a. If it's a pure functional thing, it needs a client. So if we think of this as returning the complete state, and we'd have to return all of this stuff plus client. This dot, now you actually also need a calculator state. Stat props. Okay, on chat message. Which got very large. Alright, so this is actually defined by the TMI API. Oh. This has to be an object, so we can bind some context into it. Or we have to define this function when we're setting things up. And I think the way we send events, well, React Redux uses the provider to set the store context, but we're doing it with this thing, which exports a store on which we can dispatch events. So that becomes import is it just store? So then that becomes was it dispatch? Oh yeah, and you do not like high contrast colors. Okay, so you still don't always like them. Store.dispatch. Actions dot set settings. So now how do we get our client with this? We could bind client to it and just say this is the this dot say. think that's the only thing this currently needs. Because this does not currently use any of our context, surprisingly, as it fell out. Oh, no, wait. Oh. I must have just figured, okay, if I can do one of these, I can do many of these. So what this is going to have to do in reality here is we can't do this at the moment. It's going to have to fire off an event that goes back to our reducer, which will then call a function with all of the required information to answer that question. So arguably then, the way that we should respond to a chat message is that on chat message just fires an event that has all of this information, which comes back into a reducer which has the state and all of this context information. And arguably, I think we're going to get a chat connected too. So this would almost be easier to do. In that file. Because, oh, what, no, that just becomes chat message. That just becomes target, context, message, self. Payload. Target, context, message, self. And then chat connected, which is still chat status, is where we get the adder port. Alright, so chat bot. So we don't have an on-chat message. Well, we sort of do. We have but. It gets a chat state and the event. So our chat state is going to involve client. And our event state is going to involve this stuff. Giant. And then I'm eventually going to have to pass the bitrate calculator stuff to it as well to answer questions about that. Alright, then on chat connected, and we've really already kind of written that. So this actually becomes actions dot chat message, and this becomes actions dot chat connected. And connected status could really be more the component thing. Default status, login link, status text. We need to move a bunch of state around. So now the question is, do I take my store and add a bunch of stuff to it directly, or do I develop this with like initial state, reducer, etc.? Well, I guess there's still the handling of on chat connected. It's really just a state update right now, though. So my store has an update. We have chat message and chat connected, which if it had its own reducer, we would go down to, which that means we do double dispatch on the event. Or we call them directly. Oh, but I have to watch what we're returning from these because they're functions now. So in theory, this can now, it could actually return a fully updated state with calculator updates. Because we've captured the event happening and then processing it asynchronously. But you'd pretty much have to have it manage the entire state to do that. chatbot, it was... Oh, we didn't really have it connected. It was just... That was just gathering the address information. That assigns the entire thing. We actually want to update the chatbot. Which means that our initial chatbot state, well, we end up doing other things with it, is potentially username OAuth token channel adder and client Okay. And I have to watch what I return from this. Which right now is nothing. Now, are we doing a straight up a... Because I only captured the client portion of chatbot. So we would have to treat this as an update. Actually, onMessage doesn't evolve any chat state. It probably should. Do something, but this gives it a cleaner... essentially, I have to pass the entire state in there. And then return an entire state update. In order to do this in a single bound. Which means I'm going to want to share... Well, yeah, it would be the state with updating the settings value. Although, I think this has always been a sparse update? Yeah, setting, yeah. Or a sparse object, so we'd have to be careful how we handle that. might work. I don't think my startup procedure is going to be all that good. We still have to figure out, so an app, we've got this, which we've been passing down here. So chat status right now, only needs the OAuth token to do any of its stuff. Import chatbot, authorize URL. You don't need any thises, do you? No, okay. Now this is relying on state for that information. So do we pass down just the adder port, or do we pass down chatbot? It's not this dot state, it is the state. But to get out of the state, we have to do a bind connection on this. Or connect on it. So we've got app. Which would give you props for that. And we need a way, well, I mean, this is just window. OAuth token. Alright, so our app doesn't even need to be a component. But how would we... Wait, chat status. He's already being mapped. Ah. Which pretty much turns us into state. Well, no, wait a minute. You don't need any of the calculator stuff now. In your current version. So your state is actually now chatbot? I mean, really just the OAuth token, but... Or do we do OAuth token and you don't have any actions? Oh, okay. So this needs to get rethought. So that's going to be an action. Well, if I pass the chat client information to the chat status panel, it could directly invoke that function. But we'd also have to provide the calculator state to it. And that is an action. Port current settings. Oop, that is a. I just copied the wrong command. And then in a reducer, for current settings, we do chatbot.report current settings. Needs the client and, ooh. That would mean this is the entire state if we're reading the calculator out of it. So this is just calculator. Which is kind of our entire state. I mean, really, this is a chatbot method. It's a chatbot thing. If it only cares about this field, fine. I have a feeling there's still a lot of problems here, but that was maybe bigger than I expected. Okay, that's still an old syntax error. Logged in but not connected. Chatbot. So on chat message. So our actions is going to be where we would get Oh wait, no, I can't just pass this. This is just a value. I actually have to do the dispatch. It's a chatbot, so actually, so this is the message. So we have to do to here to repeat all that, please. And address port to just repeat all that, please. No, because we have to do store.dispatch this event. Oh, you know what? Because there is the rest args. If it's 2 or 3. And we can splat that in. All right, now, did we run afoul of the syntax at all? Yeah, it doesn't like something in here. Parse error. Okay, so this one is 2. I thought it was 3. And this never tells me when it succeeded. Wait, we never even got to creating client. Okay, it is compiling right now. Although that's technically a different file. And we're in oh, connect to chat. Hey, how about we call the function? That really just needs the store. And the problem is that we've got this circular dependence now. The chatbot imports the store, so it can fire events on it. So this really has to be more like app. And we've got store. And then chatbot. Chatbot. Connect to chat needs the store.getState. dot chatbot. Which, yep. Port chatbot. Oh, there we go. Chatbot is not defined in store.js. Oh. This is that circular dependency problem. These are pure functions, but we currently have this dispatching events on here. And, okay, so set settings we could work out by having it return updated settings. Connect, we may have to pass the store to the connect method so that we don't have to globally import it. Alright, so let's not deal with this for a little bit. Wait. Do you even have the store? So the update function is going to have the store created from the update function in its context to pass down. Well, no. No, it's not in here. Well, you have to deal with the other problem later. But app, so connect to chat as a chat bot and a store. Chat bot connect to chat has to get a store so that it can fire events on it. So the other way of doing this, rather than passing the store itself, would be to pass down the onMessage and onConnected functions, which would then have to know the exact format that we're getting these events in. Although that's kind of implicit in the action functions we're using. Passing the store lets me fire. Lets me add as I add events. I just have to add action types, which makes me think I do want to extract the chat handler at some point. I just have to think about how we rebuild that. And then app calls this with a store. Chatbot is not defined. Okay, well, chatbot doesn't depend on store anymore. Message is undefined. Argument 0. And we only have adder port, which means we did not properly update our state. Object.assign state.chatbot Okay. Ah. No, it was store. Preloaded state. Immediate get state is not a function. Maybe you don't work with this style. Create store reducer. Type of window. Well, no, that's React. So that just doesn't work. Does not like my little temporary environment here. Wait, what the heck are you? Okay, we've got init diff. So we've received no events. And maybe we errored processing one? Why are we even doing on chat message? Did I get these backwards? On message, chat connected. Chat connected. Chat message. Why are we even calling this? Okay, so we have not got our connected message. I must have messed up my types. Or my what we send. Chat message, chat connected. Yep. Okay, so chat connected. Now our state, okay, our state still has stuff in it. It's just those two things. And we're not currently getting that down to chat status, which is only mapping OAuth token. Oh, wait. I really just kind of want to do state.chatbot for simplicity. Now, you're probably still looking this as state. Okay. Connect chat status. Yeah, add or port are not being properly updated in this thing's state. Although Redux says they got updated in its state. Yeah. So why are you not updating? Add or port. Add or port. Yeah, so you're bound to this store. You're the app. The app has the bitrate kick and the chat status. They don't have explicit props, but they have this sort of implicit props from here. No chat status. Why are you not updating? Well, how about other stuff? We don't have a post button. Okay, so yeah, chat is totally not connected here. Or was there just an outright error? Client is null. Okay. Let's return, so connect to chat returns client. Oh. Which means that we need a update event that is client created. Because dispatching events on the store is the only way to change the store. Unless we connect to chat while doing startup so we can use the value immediately. So I could do this if I wasn't trying to make things modules, because then I could connect to chat, put that into the initial state, create the store, and then use the store to bind the dispatch events. Since I don't want to do a two-stage init, you kind of have to have a dispatcher. It's pretty much just client. And this is a especially treacherous part of these functions that you kind of have to name it twice. Well, it's almost 3 times with the defining the values. And I've definitely messed that up. And our reducer chat created has to return state with chatbot updated with action.payload.client. Oof. Yeah, not liking the state update syntax. There's probably better ways to do that. So in order to do that, well, right now that returns the client. So app would actually have to store, well, I mean, connect that chat's already getting a store. Since that chat created with client, and I guess I can return it too. Unreachable code after return statement. Oh, because I copied some stuff. And I still don't seem to have a client to attach anything to. Oh, okay, well, I got that. Reducers may not dispatch. I mean, that's not entirely unexpected. But it means that having this, and we still don't have this. Means that this has to perform the state update in place. Chatbot on chat message. Wait. I took that out for now. What are you complaining about? Unless connected is firing from within something? So those are the only dispatch calls. On chat message, which is currently disabled, we'll have to find a way around that. Report current setting, this shouldn't do anything. On chat created a straight up assignment. So, what's dispatching? They're not giving us any help here. Well, we can say, what message were we processing when that error occurred? State action. It was a chat message. Oh. And that's the calc call. I'm wondering if the self attempts to fire a self message, attempts to loop back. That would have been a dispatch though, right? Called on chat message. If it's self, we return, so we really shouldn't do anything. But actually, we get back to the client attempting to dispatch before we call this. So if it's a self message, it's a local echo. It's not actually asynchronous. It's happening during the processing. We get down here, we attempt to say, it echoes it back. So I'm going to have to do something asynchronously here. Either the says have to be performed asynchronously outside of the actual handler, or every message receipt has to be forced to be asynchronous. Oh wait, this has to be a function. Oh, syntax error. And it's still saying reducers. 28. Element list. Well, this is in the compiled. Which actually you shouldn't have changed much. Well, there's maybe some changes. Okay, so 28 did become this. But where are we getting a square bracket? Oh no, we have a syntax error. Babel parse error. I guess you can't nest these. Actually, there's one too many. We still got that. Args set, no, dispatch, set timeout. Okay, so that got rid of the double dispatch. Now we still aren't getting our logged in information. And we purposely removed this because of that double dispatch thing. Which partially solves, I mean, the timeout solves the problem, but it's probably not the best solution for updating the settings. Now, why, oh why, oh why, oh why, oh why, oh why, oh why are we not getting our connected event? Chat connected. Oh, you know what? Because I was lazy. I bound chat status to the chat bot, and then I did not change the object identity. So anywhere that I was lazy about my object assign, like state.chatbot. Now, see, that was created. Anywhere I was lazy about that, we cannot in fact be lazy about that. It's checking object identity to do its optimized updates. Oop. This dot report current settings. That was probably just because it got moved around, so it's not of this anymore. Oh. Yeah, that is chat status. I could do a function for that, or we could just do right. Report current settings. Oh, this actually became null. But to do a limited version of this, we have to do no. Report current settings is undefined. Well, it's trying to render it. And we have... Okay, that's an old error. This dot... Oh, because it's a prop now. But we're still not getting this. Interestingly enough, some of the other errors went away. Payload, object. Payload. Ah, okay, so it's got its client ID in it. Client null to blah, blah, blah. And then we did not get a chat connected event. Chatbot, connect to chat. We got chat created. What's my order here? Let's chat connected. And suddenly it's fine. Chatbot, we did a console.log. Unless that was actually changing the timing of something? Yeah. Okay, so we probably need a handler for this. Yeah. Now report current settings. And Redux is seeing... And it's seeing a chat message? Target undefined. Right, it's not going to my chat. Oh, I changed props. This is... It was because everything used to be flat. But now we're not connecting. Which makes me think there's still something kind of funny going on. Alright, so we can go that way. Oh, yeah, we don't even have a closed chat. Because there's no component to be unbound. So if you don't connect sometimes, so we've got a init, chat created, chat connected. Well, I can't reproduce it right now. So the other problem is when you request something at the command line, I've currently been, well, before I kind of had to run it through the state. I don't have to run it through the state anymore. It could do local calculations. And just report the answer without having to affect the GUI stuff. So chatbot had the set settings. This is going to be responding to a chat message. So we just kind of have to know yeah, so this is going to be a little bit of a just give me the entire state, which is a little sad. Well, no, it's client and it is Olive calculator, and we can potentially update the calculator. The chatbot doesn't update itself presently. And then we return that, or the other thing is you have to watch out for your early returns now. Well, no, because set settings was still especially a sparse object. So this has to be. Well, no, we've got the calculator. When we get to return, we can merge it there. Return object assign. We want the default with the old values, but not overwrite with these. So then our store, when we process this, has to return actually, can we do maybe there's a better syntax for this. I mean, this almost wants to be past the state and do a complete state update, because we need so much of it. Doesn't seem to be a syntax error. Oop, doesn't like that. Props.value is undefined. Are these like asynchronous events? Or is this the error? Well, what the heck are we doing here? So let's... Y. Log. Okay, ooh. On-chat message is not returning anything. How do you do that, son? And it seems to have responded, so it got that far. Well... Huh? Yeah, same old syntax error. I can't keep track of what is what. What are we calling? What? Okay, console log arguments. That should say resolution, well... No, target's up there. Arguments. So there's the event. Oh, calculator's already undefined? Oh, this is it responding to the other stuff after the error. Okay. So on-chat message gets an undefined. No. We're passing an undefined calculator. calculate. Just a typo. Okay, that seems to have been no errors. So that gives us an alternate update syntax. And it doesn't save you much. Which I guess that would work for this too, because it's calculator. No, because that would be it's the literal for the value, not you can merge an entire object. All right, now our store. We also had debugging on for this. So it's got a console log somewhere. Yep, that was supposed to be arg. On chat message. And that is updating some of the settings. All right, so we added chatbot. I don't know that I quite like some of the wiring stuff. So this is extract chatbot from chat status. Kinda. All right. So actually, I should probably check on notes as well. Now, there's probably more stuff I can do here, or more cleanup I could do. Although nothing's coming to immediate mind. I suspect that Webpack might be its own little adventure, so I might want to put that off as the major project for a different day. So perhaps I'll look a little bit into the actual application domain issue. And if while we're looking around we can find some other better ways to restructure things, great. All right, let's see. So we're not necessarily doing anything super library heavy right now. So I'm wondering if there is any information about encoding in like a visual quality measurement. Perceived video degradation. Quality evaluation. Mathematical models are subjectively by asking users for their rating. Like digital video. Response. Objective video quality, mathematical models from subjective quality assessment. Refer to the statistical model, so independent values. Are there any like standard models about bit rates though? Full reference methods. Original video signal to received video signal. The expense of higher computational effort. Reduced reference models, features, non-reference. Decode representation and analyze the quality based on the pixel information. Blurring and encoding artifacts. Bitstream methods. Picture quality predictions they deliver are not very accurate. Image quality modules. Full referenced metrics. Been standardized. Structural similarity, image quality metric, video quality. Fidelity. Bitstream based metrics. Use in practice. Visual information fidelity. I'm looking for a very simple way to explain the fact that there is less perceived quality lost at, I guess, higher resolutions. Hey, Diemis-chan? I never get the pronunciations, but something like that. Absolute errors. Windows of an image. Oh, you're welcome. Yeah, I've actually got a little kink right now where like some old video of mine popped up and it's kind of scrunching the history. I was gonna wait and see if it fell off on its own. I might just have to go and delete it though. Received change. Windows of an image. N by n. The average of x. The average of y. What's x and y here? Two windows. Ah, okay. So x and y are like pre-image and after-image, I guess. The variance of x. Covariance of x and y. Dynamic range of the pixel values. Yeah, this is too detailed for me, I think. I just really want a better version of my bitrate calculations that take into account it seems to be something different. I don't know if it's high image size. I think it might be like a bits per inch rather than bits per pixel being relevant kind of thing. Channel distortion. Skin scale mixture. Blocks. Yeah, this is a very, very detailed. I mean, it's still possible if I read into this, I could figure out something. And of course, part of the problem with this is you never know what the viewer's screen is going to be. So I might have to add a parameter for, I don't know, monitor size. So we have also, I would need to find out what the sort of expected viewing size would be for a typical scenario. So that would end up being like bits per inch, I guess? Which is actually a different thing that we'd have to calculate. So we could actually just assume some constants to start with. So if so there's pixels per second, which is what we've been using up until now. Frame rate, calculate, video options. So I think this is about a 22-inch monitor. So if we full screened something on this, now that's diagonal, so meh. We then have to do some math to get that back to the actual. Do we care about the actual size? Well, if we're doing per inch, I guess I'm looking for a ratio. So I could take like the diagonal of this, which is essentially Pythagorean. Right, you need aspect ratio to do the reverse of that. Alright, so I'm doing some this. So I could do this in the same place, but I'm just going to do it separately. So that would say that diagonal is, is it math.square root of res.width times res.width, shoot, is it plus or times? And think of the follow as well. It's plus. Res.height times res.height. Oh, no, that actually was the only thing. But we also have to close this. Okay, so the diagonal, that gives us, in theory, console.log, a bunch of numbers that should be comparable to that rate. W is not defined. Oops. Dot. Okay, 734 on this. And actually, there's going to be a slightly different size. Oh, how interesting. So a 2-inch monitor at that, then it's exactly 100 pixels per inch. Oh, right, because it's dots per inch. Yeah, it's probably like a 70, 72, 76. But dots per inch depends on the monitor size. So for now, let's just try to calculate this, which will be probably similar to calculate bits per pixel. So I want bits per inch, basically. And, well, that's bits per pixel, and that is whatever DPI, which is dots per inch. So we've got our resolution. That's our bits per pixel. Or, yeah, our bits per pixel. So we could just take this, and it's probably streamlinable. Const DPI we think we're going to need, which is, no, because that's still diagonal. Not, doesn't have the const rate yet. Diagonal. DPI. So the dots per inch. So that's the dots on the diagonal divided by monitor size. So that is going to be like 0.1 bits per pixel. This is pixels per inch. So if this is bits per pixel, and the other is pixels per inch, then it's if you multiply, you cancel the pixels, you get bits per inch. So this is a case where rather than target, so now how do I get this in? The way it's set up right now, it almost has to be part of the model. But these are individual calculate routines. can get our startup value easily enough. Bits per inch. And then that will be in our calculator state. Bitrate calculator. So BPP gets formatted a very particular way. It should really be a different control. So for now, we just do this dot props dot bits per inch and see if that shows up. It did not show up. Okay, so it did not. One too many slashes. So that's saying that's 12, and we should see this. Oh, right, because we're not live updating it. Which is all in here in our update function, which is updating our state and then calling optimize, which to make this work here, it's going to require bits per inch calculate BPI. Okay, so that's all right. So now let's look at some things I'm familiar with. So I used to do 480, 30, 1200. That was berated at a 4. Now, admittedly, this is still full monitor size, not the reduced window you get in a typical theater view. Or I used to do 10, which is 5, which, okay, comparable quality. Now I do 15, which is 8, or 720, 30, which is 6, which is comparable to like 4 or 5 before. And interestingly enough, this is saying 0.9, but this is saying 6. And then I was seeing some other people. Actually, I think I've still got this. Where it's calculating this. That must have not updated properly. Yeah, that did not properly update. Right, because I'm updating settings, I'm not necessarily putting my calculations in there, so that's a small oops. But it's still 5. So even though the bits per pixels are trash, the resolution is so high, and it doesn't even make that big a difference, it seems. I mean, it's dropping, but it's still at reasonable. And then the other one I saw was 4060, which was, I think it had some artifacting, but yeah, okay. So what were the other things I had tried before? I know that if I took this to 540, 30, I was noticing some artifacting. Wait. Resolution actually should resolution even matter here? For a given monitor size, the bits per inch is going to be the same. And yet the resolution is asking you to send more detailed data potentially. But it doesn't actually have a very big effect on the available resolution per. Well, now actually, yeah, actually, there's a little bit of a washout here. So if we run these terms through to simplify things, and then we are, no, not diagonal, times monitor size, then there is a ratio between diagonal and width times height. Well, I mean, it's not a linear relationship because of Pythagorean, which actually might kind of explain how it kind of varies with that. Yeah, so as monitor size increases, that's going to decrease bits per inch. So actually, for this purpose, the ratio between the diagonal and the width to height is actually a thing. Which we could... I don't know what this is. I'm not sure what this is. It is... And I'm not sure if I want this numerator or denominator. I guess if I do this, it's going to become a point factor, which might make sense. Res.diagonal... Well, I don't need this number, I just want to see it. Well, okay, I also want to see, for a given width and height, res.diagonal divided by res.width times res.height. Right. .00. So maybe the other way would be easier to handle. Although it's not the number we're going to actually be multiplying here. Yeah. So there's this factor. Is that nonlinear? Hard to say. But there's that ratio between the diagonal and the dimensions that is slightly changing. So that could be pre-calculated. So they're just going to go in here. And just a factor of the resolution. What does that tell me? Well, I'd want to be able to optimize for this. Now, so these things are reasonably independent. Picking an optimization target doesn't work out as well. Because if I'm targeting this, I'm not necessarily, yeah, I'm not necessarily going to care about bits per pixel. So these are almost the same target. Because I might want to say, okay, I know what my target bits per inch is. And actually, well, if you're trying to figure out an actual number, monitor size matters. If you're just looking for a comparable factor, bits per inch on a one inch diagonal screen, then it's a number. It's kind of a dimensionless number because now it's not bits per inch, it's what's bits per 1 inch. I mean, would that be like bits per screen? That's not very many bits per screen. And then there's the fact that the whole point of this was to have the diagonal wash out with the ratio of the diagonal to the monitor. So removing that constant, which we don't know necessarily. I actually have to remeasure this monitor to see if that's the one I'm referring to. But I might want to optimize, say I want to enter this value and get my bitrate resolution frame rate. So I'm going to have to do something special with my well, no, generally you want to calculate, okay, given I want to target this, a certain quality level, what bitrate resolution or frame rate can I achieve? Now, did I ever, you know what, I never did continue searching beyond this. Visual and scalability. Visual quality. They're probably using objective measures. Advanced applications visual. 2D and VR video. Yeah, this is too technical. I just want a rough estimate of how these impact us. And unfortunately, the actual numbers depend on the screen size. So I have to have a little setting for what's your target screen size. And the other thing I have to look up is what is our reduction? So if we go, well, no.
Slow. It's much better.
No, just go away. No, I keep doing that. So I don't really care about the video. I just need. This is roughly full screened. Video stats. So 1580 by 904. Is the display resolution. Theater res. Well, one possible display resolution anyway. What can we do with that? Well, that's our effective size. So I would need to calculate. Right. Oh no, I would need the actual inch size to the percent of monitor. Well, no, because we know the percent of area. No, you're a diagonal. So we can compare the diagonal of that to the diagonal of our actual thing, maybe? To say our effective display size is so is that actually what I want here? Is that the theater res diagonal? And then we do our monitor size. Because that's my actual dots per inch. Oh, yeah, because that's the display size. This is the bits in the underlying image. So really it's a dots per inch. Well, we're displaying it on that. The underlying image is still only going to have so many. Right, if you're at a lower res, that's effectively lower bits. That's actually an interesting little reduction there. So at my old settings, it's effectively right, because I was counting that for a full screen image before. And arguably worse. Well, the main artifacting on this case is actually the low frame rate itself. And then it continues to get worse. Oh, no, actually it wasn't this. It was 864, which, yeah, okay, that's comparable quality level. And then now we do... well, 15. And 720/30, which is... bits per inch. No, something's not right here. This is encoding at less than the full 2500 very often. And it should look better than my old settings. Which actually makes me wonder if... I mean... resolution almost has to matter? That's just going to... yeah, because that was a big factor. So now resolution should have no impact on this, which is... that's not right. Well, I mean, I guess bits per inch, and the resolution is just changing how many are for each pixel. Some combinations obviously don't make sense. How do we describe what is an acceptable trade-off? Because this doesn't... well, I mean, I guess if you're overdoing it, you expect artifacting, which is not enough bits for a solid image. So maybe that is right. This is at a point where we do not get significant artifacting. Yeah, but it's not bits per inch. Our bits per inch is twice as high as it used to be. Well, maybe, probably. Because if we were at this rate, and that's about the same. Well, I mean, both of these were targeting the same bits per pixel, so that kind of follows. And what I'm trying to get to is an understanding of things like being able to do that. I guess, no, that's still about half of that. I still don't have a good explanation for why that setting seemed to work. And maybe there is some artifacting at higher levels, but it wasn't significant. These numbers are very arbitrary because in theory, this needs to be somehow worked into the fact this is not the full monitor size. For display area, we'd actually want some factor of that based on the ratio between theater res and our maximum monitor size for an actual number with meaningful units. So maybe, is this a better explanation? Even though we're not displaying it that? So that actually does get described as higher pixels or bits per inch when you increase resolution. Does it make sense for that actually does kind of make sense. Now, yeah, I think I would need to calculate, but it's the ratio between this number and the reduced window for theater mode is basically constant. There's a certain resolution that will use up a certain portion of the screen that will kind of increase your effective bits per inch because you're putting it in smaller inches. All right, so we can run this in here. Maybe saying multiplied by DPI is actually a more intuitive way of describing this. Oh, except it would have to, yeah, to pass that down easily. I would have to like capture everything and repass it. This is streamlined, but and then in theory, to get, well, there's all kinds of things we could do. We could have a setting for monitor size to try and see how it looks at different screens. But to even get this as I want such and such target bits per inch, I'm probably going to have to tie it into if this is a target, we calculate both of these. Because we're just calculating them based on these inputs. And that's the same. Bits per pixel doesn't really trade off with any of things. It's completely dependent calculation. The other option would be to replace bits per pixel, but this is something that has some prior art, so it's kind of useful. So I would have to say that any of these, you could edit either of these controls. And the other one would update, which is actually a little bit of the problem for the way, well, for the way I had it set up. It might work better in Redux. Oh no, because it was an input field thing. Because this control is changing mode based on whether it is in read-only or write-only mode. And which one we updated is going to matter a little bit. Because that means this will still have to calculate when the other field updates. Now this should, I don't think the points are going to matter as much here, so the formatting won't matter as much here. So maybe it's actually more like bitrate control. Oops. Changed. Is it going to be a parse int? Probably not. Bitrate. What? I forgot my all lines here. Now, what reasonable numbers are for this? I have no idea. Maybe one makes sense. So if we max the heck out of everything, no, that's going the other way. Looks like 100-ish would be insane. And I mean, probably for the numbers I was looking at with this current monitor size, even like 10 or 20 would be more reasonable. Which would be bitrate of 0.5, BPP of 0.5, which is about where my BPP maxes out. So calculator. BPI. And I currently did have some wrappers for these. Oh, this is one of the things I might want to rethink. Set BPI is not a function. Aha. Ah, indeed. Actions. Action types. Actions. Okay, now we don't have anything to respond to that. Wait. A bitrate calculator. Oh, we didn't update this. And we have to import this. Okay, so the model can't respond to changes right now. I don't know why that's going red. Is it like out of range? Also, yeah, I'm the optimized target. Store. Optimize. Calculate. So right now we're always calculating that. Calculate bitrate, calculate. But if our target is bitrate, we're able to set this. As target resolution, we're able to set that. We probably do need to do something here. Or BPP target, calculate that. BPI, calculate that for now. Okay, yeah, that's not having any feedback effect right now because we're only using bits per pixel. Oh, I need to be able to go the other way. Well, in theory, that's reducible to bits per pixel. Alright, well, I do have to take a short break. I'll be back in a minute or two. Liver and a tidy. I've had a miner, a research assistant. I had a farmhand for a while. I had a chef for a while. I haven't had an engineer yet. I haven't had a lot of machines. I know when I had a researcher, like they weren't doing anything because no one was delivering like water and dirt to the stations, and they're going idle even though their delivery.
That's a long smoke break, boy.
Look at this, look at this. Are you blocking me off? Oh, this is funny. Alright, everybody got all their stuff? I haven't seen it in the chat. Can we farm with you? It's probably going to be up to Rye Guy. He's going to be the party leader. Back off my man, this guy.
Hey Nia, how's it going? Okay, perfect. No, baby! God damn it! I just can't keep a female character alive. What do I do?
Why?
The hell's in this room?
I think it's like a test room.
Yeah, look. Security cameras moving. You got anything weapon-wise? I ain't got shit.
Got this AK and that big minigun, but to be honest, that minigun's kind of crap.
I may need to turn my music down. I can't. Oh wait, there's something. Oh, it's a trap.
Let's start the show.
Here, I'll just do all the work for you. Alright, have fun. Hit him once. Oh, look, you're doing such a good job. You're doing so well. Yeah, you can't get me up there, can you? Yeah, no, you can't. Really? Come on, guys. Just one. There we go. Proud of you. Hold on 1 second. I want to learn how to click.
Come on. Danger, revive me.
Border out, come on.
Vote Lisa.
Lisa. No.
Vote Lisa.
Dude.
Danger. Danger. Vote Lisa.
Yeah.
Alright, so I think I still have some conceptual problems in how this works. So our issue here is that we can change our BPI and nothing cares. Most things are going to use some version of bits per pixel. So we need to have a, well, it actually depends on our diagonal right now. But we're going to have the resolution. Yeah, so these are going to have to be joined somehow. Or, so for everything that uses bits per pixel, and maybe there's a more direct way to do this, but so we're going to have const, or effective bits per pixel. Ooh, that means we're gonna, all these are going to need, oh, but we don't know what changed. We used to have a target. These are almost like two different views of one value. So the only time the BPI input's going to matter is if we changed it. Which is a distinct event. And then every other time we would calculate it. And it has a little substate. So if we did a set bits per inch, for all of our other math, you would have to convert that to a ooh. What if your target is resolution? Because this ratio depends on resolution. That's interesting. Well, I am searching through resolutions. That might mean some more involved math to figure out. Yeah, because if you're trying to target an actual bits per inch and you're figuring out a resolution, that's not a constant ratio. But we should have that changing these things. We'll at least change that. Now, I don't know why it keeps turning red. Maybe it's out of range? Is there any... Box model properties. No changes found. What is doing like border? Border block end color. Something's doing red. Box shadow? Not output. Moz UI invalid. Yeah, I wish I knew why it was invalid. Maybe I didn't properly update. Well, I did notice that was off. So I don't know why that's unhappy. Oh, this is what I want to format again. Anyway, I'm probably going to have to. Well, I could just report. I could do a report only. But if I find a number I like, I'm going to want to be able to target it for this other stuff. Now, I guess you could just slide around till you find something. Because this is kind of targeting. Well, bitrate's a bit more of a calculation heavy thing. Yeah, I don't know how to handle this in the paradigm I've got. Because it's similar to this, but if we do a target resolution... Oh yeah, that's not even an update. The ratio between this value and bits per pixel that we use to do this is going to depend on the value we pick. There's probably something, there might be something to pre-calculate, because right now I've been doing pixels per second. Since the resolution itself is one of the factors in that conversion, there's probably like bitrate without height width diagonal. Well, no, because that's the entire thing you're selecting on. Oh, right, because I'm doing resolution frame rate combinations, so it's basically this thing. Or maybe I actually work the diagonal into that formula. Then you just have to wash out the constant for monitor size. So that makes pixels per inch, or pixels per second. When we are find, we're doing target pixels per second as everything else except that. So that would allow you to target the bits per inch instead of the bits per pixel. But it's two different calculate functions depending on what you're doing. We could also determine, keep it as bits per inch and calculate bits per pixel. Huh. Bitrate calculator. So probably, I don't have a good answer for this yet. Is it complaining about the fact? Okay, no, it's not complaining about the fact we've got a change event on here. Yeah, so I'm going to treat that as calculated only right now. Now, unfortunately, it's not interactive because we took that out because it was going to be kind of bound up with bits per pixel, which is a settable thing now. So now we're back to this. Nope, not repeat. And I think that messed everything up. So for the time being, alright, that's our target. We can at least do calculations on it, and then I'm going to have to see if I can figure out a way to clean this up later. Yeah, and we don't really have a... We don't really find a good way to use that one scaling factor for the theater resolution. And there's probably some abstraction I could do of controls, but it's I'd have to have ways to set the ranges and formatting. I mean, maybe BPP and BPI could be similar if we were able to set the range and make sure the formatting allowed for more significant digits. All right, so that's work in progress. Next time we'll see about, well, see if we can get this set up on Webpack just to see how that works. Now this doesn't have images or fancy style sheets or any of that stuff at this point, but the JavaScript pipeline's what I'm more worried about. But I do want to get to lunch at some point. So that is going to be that. Thanks for watching. Thanks for hosting. Let me see if I have anything to recommend. And then this is my approximate schedule. Based on historical videos. Tuesdays and Thursdays I am taking out at the moment, or out of circulation. Let's see. Alright, nothing jumping out at me as other JavaScript related stuff. But I see somebody doing some game dev. So yeah, still going. So Thunderbells is working on a roguelike. A roguelite, I guess. So if you look for someplace cool to hang out, that's someplace cool to hang out. Thanks for hanging out with me. Goodbye, and until next time.